Man, I was thinking like, it was I went on like a vacation. I went on a trip, and like to make sure that we didn't like take no tolls, we like went the back way, and we were going to like Pennsylvania. My brother lives in Pennsylvania. He lives in a like really rich part. It's like it's a church town. It's basically a conservative, community. You mean rich people everywhere. I mean, stuff is expensive, you know. And then he got some cheap stuff because he got some local stuff. So it's like plenty of local businesses. And they were saying how like everything closed at like 9 o'clock, like, and like where I live in the city, so most like the city never sleeps. Even like 12 o'clock, 11, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, people still be walking around. But in like in a church town, service town, no, everybody, everything closed at 9 o'clock. Some things close like 2 o'clock, and then certain shops don't even open on Sunday. So it's a weird town, you know. It's a spur of like a couple black people, some Arabs, Indians, and stuff like that. People pretty friendly. Some people leave you alone, but it's because it's a changing town. It probably wasn't always like that. Foreigners wasn't always in there, but they yeah. If you go to Walmart and whatnot, you're not gonna see a lot of blacks, but you're gonna see a lot of like Indians and Arabs and stuff and Asians. You know, because when they bring companies, because they brought like a Merck, some medical company, they make medicine. It brought Indians to the area, so that's why you see a lot of them. So, and I was thinking like how do they make money? In a town like this where they close at 9, sometimes close at 2, bars close at 2. You know, they probably don't open on Sunday. It's crazy, right? So I was going. We were to get there. We had to go through Baltimore. When we was going there, we didn't really plan, so we didn't have to go through Baltimore. Like when we talk about Baltimore, we're talking about the bad part. I mean, matter of fact, the street that had the Baltimore riots, I didn't even know at first, but I was looking and I was like, wait a second, this was the street that they had the Baltimore riots when all the thugs was standing on top of cars and stuff. This was the street. And I was like, oh snap, how was this the street? And it's hard to tell because they cleaned it up. And and yeah, at two, I remember we was driving and it was like something ran across the street. I didn't know what it was at first, but I looked at it. It's like, oh my God, it's a rat in the street. What the hell? So a rat ran across the street. Man, that was crazy. So I was like, and like we was kind of late coming. It was about 2, 3 a.m. when we was in Baltimore. We got I guess an hour to go. I think I don't even know. And he was walking around like no big deal, you know. And it was sort of mixed. It was some whites, but you can tell they were like poor whites or let's say oblivious whites. So as you're going up the street, you got the ghetto, you straight up ghetto, and because Popeyes everywhere, you got Popeyes everywhere, like 5 Popeyes on one street, and no joke, they bring Popeyes right. And as you go up the street, it starts to change. Like it gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So it's kind of weird how block from block, the economy, like the shops and the mood and the people change just by block. So you have like an area where just be black people or poor whites, and then bam, another block will be liberals. You can tell they're liberals because they're usually like they're like whites that are oblivious whites, but where my brother lives, he lives in a conservative area, so they're not oblivious whites. They're cautious. So if, like I said, if they show up at something and there's a lot of blacks, they'll walk, they'll go, they'll leave. say. If black people, if 3 or more black people show up, I'm leaving. But because my brother had a story one time. He said he went to the pool, and then when he went into the pool, it was a couple families there, and then a second family came in. I don't know if it might have been his friends or something. And 10 minutes later, right after his friends came, all the white people at the pool left. And I was like, oh snap, these people. But that's how they are. They look at statistics. I mean, they have a reason to be afraid of us. But you can't sleep on your own people, though. You can't just be afraid of blacks and then expect that your people are not going to rob you too. But anyway, so I was thinking that why do ghettos exist? What is the point? What is the point of ghettos? And I was realizing that there's different economies. Each neighborhood, each block has a different economy. So you don't want to believe it, but each neighborhood has different economies, different demographics, different races, different types of people, different crime rates. And I went through Germantown, and they were saying that Germantown was pretty messed up. But it was weird because it looked like it was like a rich area. But if if a person is a criminal and he wants to steal, he can't steal from his own people. We ain't got nothing. So who is he gonna steal from? He's gonna steal from the oblivious rich whites, you know. So because Germantown is it's like in between a nice area and a bad area. So it's like in between. You know, whites could usually live like kind of like oblivious life where nothing would usually happen to them. You know, they get robbed every once in a while, but it wouldn't happen that often. Black people are getting more bold now. They'll go to your neighborhood and then rob you. They'll go to your neighborhood and then kill you and rape you. They don't care about passing that visible electric fence like I used to believe. It's kind of weird. You have like these two different neighborhoods, poor people, rich people, and they never, there's no conflict. Black people don't mess with them, white people don't mess with them. It's weird. They don't even cross the line sometimes. They, like I said, they be talking about how, it might be Baltimore, it might be Chicago, where it'll be like one block will just be projects, and then like the next block will be like $1 million homes. And the crime here, no crime here. It's like weird, right? But because of this whole it's cool to be racist thing, and then this whole white guilt thing, black people have no problem robbing you now. So they'll rob you now, they'll kill you now, they'll rape you now, and then the people will have 50 excuses why it's okay for them to do it. And you say, well, why? You know, why would the liberals let them do it? Well, it's a weird thing. I mean, I know what they're doing. It's the liberals and the conservatives are actually the same group. They pretend like they're fighting, but they're really not. They might be fighting over power, but it doesn't matter. They both still have power. So liberals come in because the liberals are the creative, and then the conservatives are not creative, but they do have money. So what they do is they hook up with the liberals, and then they fund the revitalization of the neighborhood. And liberals are just as racist as anybody else. When you make it, you know, they usually leave you alone. Liberals and conservatives are usually pretty nice when you make it. They don't really care. If you're in that neighborhood, they're probably expecting you make it. So they usually, when you make it, they usually leave you alone. They might treat you with some type of racism, but I ain't really see it. I don't really see it that much. But hey, if you're looking for it, you're going to get it. So that's what I would say. Like, I say certain things, but, you know, I don't believe it. But if you're looking for it, you're going to get it. You know, I guess I don't get it because I know the game that's being played. So what happens is you have bad neighborhoods. Liberals come in. Liberals don't have any money. Conservatives do. So if they want to revitalize a community, liberals come in with conservative money, change the neighborhood, kick out the blacks. and change that whole jank. Liberals don't care about kicking out blacks because liberals don't want to live near blacks because they know that if they live near blacks, it's going to be a ghetto. And if they live near poor whites, it's going to be a trailer park. So it's like they don't discriminate. They just don't want poor people. They don't want certain type of people. So anyway, let's get back on topic. Why do ghettos exist? Man, there's so many dynamics, but the reason why ghettos exist is because ghettos bring a certain type of economy. Poor white neighborhoods bring a certain type of economy. Any demographic, any race of people, whether it be Mexican is not a race, Hispanics, they bring a certain type of dynamic. So when you go into a black ghetto, what are you going to see? You're going to see corner stores. You're going to see like fast food restaurants. Some like kind of like not like fancy restaurants. You're not going to see like a Shoney's, but you'll see like a Popeyes or a Chicken Spots, stuff like that. You're gonna see check cashing places. You're gonna see liquor. You're gonna see dollar stores. You're gonna see cigarettes, shoe repair, weave, nail salon, barbershop, salon, stuff like that. You're gonna see all of this stuff. Banks. They got plenty of banks. You got the Muslims and their masjids, and you got churches. You got funeral homes. You got some type of Planned Parenthood somewhere. It's probably not going to be called Planned Parenthood. It might be called something else. And they're usually going to be near the city. So you got welfare offices and like DMV and stuff like that. And this whole thing about blacks don't have access to cell phones and IDs is like the dumbest thing. Like, IDs are usually right up the street from the ghetto, DMV and everything. And cell phone shops are everywhere in the black neighborhood. Metro PC, I forgot what it was called, Boost Mobile, they're everywhere, you know. So this whole thing about they don't have access to phones or they don't have access to internet or technology. Well, how do you think the blacks can get together and have a fight, get together to have a Facebook fight at a mall and rampage the mall? The only way they can do is with internet. Internet, Twitter, Instagram, all that crazy stuff. They have access to all of that, IDs, guns, drugs, women. They have access to everything they need. So this whole thing about they don't have IDs is the dumbest thing. Of course they have IDs. Of course they have access to internet. They got cell phones, better phones than most people. Better clothes. They got access to clothes too. They got access to everything. So ghettos bring certain economies, and that it makes the foreigners rich. So foreigners coming to the ghetto, they set up shop, and it makes them rich. It doesn't make blacks rich. We ain't got nothing. I would say black women. But it makes foreigners rich though. So they don't want the ghetto to go. So why would it's like we're like, okay, there shouldn't be a ghetto, but at the same time, it's making somebody money. So they can't get rid of the ghetto because it's making somebody money. So you got, like I said, funeral homes, you got police stations, you have free clinics, you have Planned Parenthood, you have alcohol, cigarettes, baby clothes, weave is a $1 billion business, clothes, shoes, fast food restaurants, like quick spots, like corner spots. Corner spots are like everywhere because black people, we usually live close to the city, so we need stuff to be close. Like I say, restaurants, let's say high-end restaurants or mid-range restaurants are usually kind of way out, and grocery stores are usually pretty far too. But what we do have instead of grocery stores is corner stores. So instead of walking like 10 miles to a grocery store, we can walk 2 miles up the street to a corner store. So that's why we gotta pick corner stores everywhere. And because there's no restaurants that are that close, they're like 5 miles away. if but if you don't want to walk all the way to a restaurant, you can just walk to the corner store. So the corner store has produce, dry food, and cooked food. Not most, now have cooked food now. So if they don't have cooked food, they got frozen food, frozen meats. So yeah, corner stores everywhere. And the funny thing is, like, when foreigners come, they have their own economies too. They have their own shops. When Usually when foreigners come, they don't assimilate. When Koreans, they want to be around other Koreans, even if the Koreans, some of them might even like know English pretty good. They still want to be around the Koreans. So because they want to feel comfortable. So most of the time, people segregate naturally anyway because they want to be comfortable. People rather be comfortable. If they can assimilate, they'll do it. But if it's hard, they're not gonna do it. Definitely if they don't have to. So just like in refugee camps, you have when they have refugee camps or sanctuary cities, they have shops in these sanctuary cities and refugee camps. You're like, how in the world do they got stuff to sell? Well, I guess they just sell whatever they came with, or they might steal it. I don't know, or they might have some connections from the homeland. So the reason why ghettos exist is because it's bringing a certain type of economy. Suburbs, okay, suburb economy is almost the same. You have grocery stores, you have gas stations. Kind of funny because in the ghetto they're called corner stores, but in the suburbs they're called gas stations. It's kind of weird how the word changed. What they're called changes. Or they call them liquor stores. But anyway, so in suburbs you got grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, fast food, high-end restaurants. Let's see, hotels. I forgot. Roach motels in the ghetto. And then let's say cheap motels are in the suburbs. Flea markets. See all these economies. Let's see, what else? Organic grocery stores now. That's the new thing. Organic grocery stores popping up. Dentists, clinics. They're not free though. Goodwill. It's kind of funny because I don't see a lot of thrift stores in the ghetto for some reason. That's weird. I don't get that. Yeah, I did notice that there's not a lot of thrift stores in the ghetto. They're usually in like uh, they're in the poor area, but it's not the poor black area. It's usually I guess the poor white area or the poor Mexican area. That's usually where the thrift stores are. And then you have the rich neighborhood. Now, rich neighborhoods are usually kind of weird because they could be two things. They could be nothing but houses and land, and basically like you can rent a boat or rent an RV or something. Uh, or it could be being revitalized. Meaning it's a different type of revitalization. It's like they're adding stuff. The people have money. They just didn't want certain things to come in because if you bring in a Walmart, you bring in a dollar store, now you're bringing in a certain type of people, or you're bringing in more people. A lot of times in small towns, they don't want it to be big because then it might bring crime, and then it will bring a certain type of people. So, there's local shops, there's local restaurants and bars. People do a lot of drinking. um, Gas stations and stuff like that. But like I said, stuff closes at 9. Some stuff closes at 2. Some stuff closes on the weekend, on Sundays and stuff. And so it's just a different dynamic. People keep to themselves. You don't see a lot of people walking that much. You see them walking with their dogs or whatever. There's parks everywhere. But they don't like changing it because then it would change some stuff. It might close, might other things close. They don't want a Pizza Hut coming because they might have to compete with a local pizza place, and then they might knock them out of business. So they like to keep everything local. I guess it means they want to keep all the money in the state, in their community. So if anything is coming from the outside, then the money's not really staying in the community. So I guess that's why they keep everything local, because they want all the money to stay in that community. So it's the same reason why when they created Chinatown, there's nothing but Asians up in there. It's not just, the funny thing is, I mean, Asians speak so many languages is crazy. Cambodian, Filipino, Vietnamese, um, Taiwanese, Mandarin, Cantonese. They speak so many languages. Even when they live in the Chinatown, the Koreans hang with the Koreans, and the people who speak Cantonese hang with the people who speak Cantonese, and it's like it's all like separated. They segregate even in Chinatown, but everything, all the money that's being made is being funded into this Chinatown. They keep the kind of Chinatown flourishing. So the same way Africans, when they see when Somalians, see Somalians are coming in. A lot of Somalians are coming into the country now, and when they come in, they take over towns. They bring in their shops and their grocery stores, their halal, um, and they would change the community. It would be, like I said, it would be an area where it's just Somalis up in there. It would just be Ghanaians up in there, people from Ghana and stuff. So the world is changing, it's moving fast, and it's mainly the reason why they're bringing the immigrants is because, well, the real reason is they're trying to weaken the countries, and the only way you can do it is you gotta have to remove the good ones. So the immigrants that are coming, they're like the educated ones. They have access to the internet, technology, and nice clothes. They got a lot of money. They're coming with a lot of money. These ain't no poor immigrants. That's why when you see it, it's mostly men. So they ain't poor. They just crappy husbands because they basically just left their wife in Syria, um, which is messed up, right? So they're just basically just trying to, basically, they are weakening their country. They Ethiopians have resources, Somalians, Syrians, Libyans, Iraqis, Iranis. They all have resources that America. Well, it's not America. It's really just elites. They could be anybody. Elites want the resources. And the only way you can take them is the country got to be weak. The country got to be stupid. It got to be poor, and it got to be. Well, it basically they have to be uneducated. And basically, their life has to be so crappy that they can't even pay attention to what the government's doing. That's basically how they're gonna do it. North Korea probably does have something. I think it's called. It's something. It's something. Well, we don't need it. So, but somebody might want it. China might want it. I don't know. India might want it. China is a superpower. India is trying to become a superpower. That's why when they signed that Paris Agreement thing, they ain't buy none of that. Right after they signed that thing, they probably got some money, and they probably use the money to build some coal plants. So the global warming thing is a scheme. Even if it was real, it doesn't matter. The world doesn't care. The elites don't care. Even though you might think it's real, elites don't care. They'll use global warming to corrupt people, to take over stuff, to conquer people. They do it all the time. Climate change, global warming, racism. They use all kinds of stuff. Religion, feminism. They'll use anything to take over people. The reason why they're bringing in Muslim women that take over feminism is because, well, it's like white women have so much power that when you have so much power, you start getting sloppy. You start getting confident. You start getting lazy. When white women have so many rights, it's not even funny. Because they have so many rights, they start becoming lazy. They start becoming like nobody can beat them. So they brought the Muslim women in, and Muslim women are not. It's funny. Oh my God, saying that they're feminine, that's the craziest thing ever. But anyway, they're using the Muslim women to conquer feminism. It's easy. I mean, it's easy right now because the white women, have so many rights. They're so free that now they're getting cocky now. Now they're getting like, they're not paying attention. Um, they have so much, they're so cocky that they don't think nobody can take them down. So the Muslim women are coming into feminism and they're taking that thing over. They're going to destroy that thing from within. But whatever. That's their fight. But yeah, the reason why, no, this video long, but yeah, the reason why ghettos is because it's a different type of economy. You know, it's making some people some money, and they won't get rid of ghettos because it's making money for foreigners. It's making money for, it's giving people jobs, you know, small amount of jobs, but it's giving people some jobs, some low level jobs, low skill jobs. You know, it's making the government money, it's making foreigners money, you know, and criminals are happy. Criminals, you have to have an economy for criminals too. People gotta understand is like, criminals have an economy too, and their economy has to flourish too. So the government doesn't really care that criminals exist really, because they know that because the government's criminals too. So they want the criminals economy to flourish too, because it's making them money too, because the laws throwing them in jail and all stuff, the funeral homes. A lot of people, they're getting shot in Chicago. These are young people. So what do you think is happening to their organs when they die? They're selling their organs. They're young, you know, young and healthy. So they're selling their organs. So they're making money on organs. So, you know, they're not gonna get rid of ghettos. Only thing they can really do is because you got a gun economy, drug economy, prostitution economy, pimp economy, cigarette economy, liquor economy. See, you have all these economies. So when they say the economy is bad, you got to ask them what economy you talking about. The car company, the car economy, the bank economy, the drug economy, the gun economy, you know, the food economy, the government economy. Like, what economy are you talking about? So we got to be specific. So yeah, the ghetto is a certain type of economy, and it's bringing in money for people, and you make a lot of money. If you're a criminal or you're doing it legal, you can make money. So they're not ever get rid of ghettos. They might make them look a little bit better, but they'll still exist though. Anyway, ghettos exist because it's making somebody some money. That's why they exist. All right, peace out.